This is the map, and those are the tablets. Wish me good luck. Straight up, I need to say that I have a bad feeling just because we cannot use the, I believe it is a absent amulet that people are using usually for this build. And that amulet gives us four pieces to the build. Which is the, where am I lagging? Which is the 4 levels to all spell skills, the 50 spirit, the cast on dodge, and the most important one in my opinion is the 5% 5% base critical hit chance. Is this guy immortal or what? Holy shit. Get frozen, boy. What? What's happening? GGG. Please. Sit down, boy. I like Temporal Chain so much. I feel like I'm playing Matrix whenever I fight a slowed down monster. Ooh, Divi. This is gonna take a while. Finally, Jesus Christ. Eat that. And that. Oh, another animation. What did you think about Spain Argentina? I thought it was a pretty tough match, to be honest. But I am very glad that Spain won. And to be fair, I wasn't completely, I don't know, expecting it. Because if you look back at the Spanish national team from like, I don't know, 10 years ago, it was stacked, like stacked. Xavi, Iniesta, Sergio Ramos, Puyol, and if you look at this national team, at least I'm talking for myself here, but there were like 6 names that I have never heard before. So I was a bit skeptical, but luckily it worked out in the end. Alright, that's it for the map. Let's see how we're doing against a boss now. And because it wouldn't be a proper showcase without fighting one of the arbiters, we are fighting the arbiter of SH now. Get frozen, boy! He's not getting frozen. Oop. Of course. Get frozen. He is not getting frozen. But he's getting deaded. Diamond, diamond. Oh, okay. Let's see. Mana, elemental resistances, chaos race. Bam. Hello, football fans, and Viva España! Today I am basically bringing you a copy of Jungroan's Cast on Dodge build. Even though I took a slightly different approach than he did, I cannot deny that I have probably copied around 85% of his build, so therefore I will link his build in the description of this video afterwards, just because he deserves to take all the credit for it, of course. As always, I am challenging myself, if I can even call it a challenge, but I am challenging myself to make those builds only using unique items, and then to use them in a semi-hard map, and to use them in the fight against the hardest boss in the game, probably, which is either the Arbiter of Ash, either the Arbiter of Divinity D. But yeah, enough yapping around. Without further ado, let's get into the gear. For the weapon, I'm using a Runeseeker Skull, which is probably the best. I cannot exactly call it a wand because it is clearly a fork, but for the sake of this video, probably the best unique wand in the game. And in case you are wondering if this is the best runes combination, I have no idea. I haven't tested it. In fact, I was thinking about replacing this rune with another critical hit chance rune after this video and see how it is, how it's performing. Just because my critical hit chance is at around 72% at the moment, and another 80% increased critical hit chance would be pretty helpful for me to go even higher. For the helmet, I'm using a Alpha Soul, and there are two reasons. One of them, and the most important, is the spirit, because we need quite a bit of spirit for this build. And the second reason is because it gives us 70% cold resistance, which is quite a lot. I have anointed it with Paragon just because we are a quality stacker, and in case you didn't know, Paragon gives us 5% quality to all skills. In my offhand, I'm running a Palm of the Dreamer. I have a hair in my mouth. A Palm of the Dreamer, and there are several reasons for that. The four most important reasons probably being: one, the spirit. Like I said, we need quite a bit of spirit for this build to work. The second one is the reduced skill effect duration. Ember Fusillade takes quite a bit of time to cast. You know, you do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and 5 minutes later the skill finally casts. But because of this scepter and because of the quality that we are stacking, we cast, as you can see, Ember Fusillade almost instantly. The third reason probably is Impurity, which gives us some chaos resistance, and more importantly, it gives us the ability to socket in all those supports for free, even though they do cost spirit, 30 spirit, 45 spirit, 20 spirit, 40 spirit. We socket them in for free. And the last reason is this effect right here, Dreaming Gloom Shrine, which you can read what it does, but it is pretty powerful. For the amulet, I have been debating a lot which unique amulet to use, and another good candidate was, for example, Fire Flower with a +6 to all fire skills corruption, but in the end, no unique amulet comes even close to a rare absent amulet, which would give us, 50 spirit +4 to all spell skills, cast on dodge, and on top of that, and on top of all that, it would also give us 5% additional critical hit chance base for all fire spell skills, which is massive. But in the end, I decided to go with the Serpent's Egg for the charges. I am doing some charges shenanigans. You will see when I talk about the skills. But yeah, this amulet, as you can see, gives us another charge whenever we gain a charge, and we are gaining charges because of Thaumaturgic Generator. And then on top of that, another 50% chance to gain an additional charge, right? So yeah, this amulet is pretty good. And like I said, I'm doing some charges shenanigans, which gives me some more critical hit chance. Not increased, but more. If you look at my Ember Fusillade, for example, my critical hit chance at the moment is at 72%. But if I take off this amulet, okay, if I take off this, what the, oh yeah, because I still have charges. Oh yeah, you can see it now. It drops to 50%. For the rings, in my right ring slot, I'm using a snake pit. And of course, the cast speed and the spell damage are useful, but the main reason behind this decision is this line right here that says that if I use it as my right ring, my projectiles from spells chain an additional time, which is pretty powerful for this build, for mapping specifically. I have corrupted and double corrupted over 100 snake pits in order to get this one. I am pretty happy with it, although there is room for improvement. I don't know if I was lucky or if I was unlucky, but I'm telling you this in case you decide to do the same. Just be mindful that it might take you quite a bit, right, in order to get one similar to this one. And it might be pretty costly as well, because just 100 architect orbs alone is probably like 400 divines right now. So yeah, expensive. And in my left ring slot, I'm using a Shtira's Path. And then again, I have corrupted and double corrupted this one myself. This is the best outcome that I got. And the main reason, or the only reason why I'm using it, is so I can socket in a jewel. Because as you probably already know, jewels are extremely broken this league. So I'm taking jewel slots wherever I can. For the body armor, I'm using a lore weave, and the two main reasons behind this lore weave are the 7% quality of all skills, because like I said, we are a quality stacker. And the second one are those two lines at the bottom. The projectiles from spells chain an additional time. So basically that's 2 additional times from the lore weave and the snake pit combined. And the projectiles also fork, which is again pretty powerful for this build for mapping specifically. But you would probably be better off if you use either the Atsiri Splendor unique body armor with a lot of energy shield, either a rare body armor with a lot of energy shield, and you get also maybe some spirit on top of that, and maybe some resistances. For the gloves, I have been debating a lot, and in the end I decided to go with the Blue Flame braces. And another good candidate was Maligaros, for example, for the 250% critical damage bonus. But when you have very powerful jewels, you can easily get past that 250. In fact, if you look at our Ember Fusillade, we are sitting at 600 critical damage bonus, which is a lot more than what Maligaros gives us. So I chose to go with the Blue Flame braces. I have corrupted and double corrupted those gloves myself, and this is the best outcome that I got, and I am very, very happy with them. This is exactly what I wanted. I wanted a corruption that goes over 100%, and then I wanted a jewel socket. And like I said, just because jewels are extremely powerful this league. For the boots, I chose to go with the Decree of Flight, and there are 2 reasons behind this decision. One of them is the high increased movement speed. There are not many unique boots that have 30% increased movement speed. And the second reason is the 30% faster dodge roll. And as you can see, we move around pretty quickly. Bam, 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 bam. Right? And lastly, for the flasks and the charms, I'm going with 2 Lavianga spirits for the passive mana regen. That's because I want to be lazy and I don't want to be pressing my mana flask. And I'm using the same 3 charms like in any other video. This one for stun, this one for freeze, and a rite of passage with the spirit of the cat, mostly for the increased critical hit chance. 100% increased critical hit chance, but also because of the evasion, skill speed, and movement speed, and those are all stats that we desire. And in hideout, my critical hit chance is at 72%, but together with this rite of passage, we do get over 75%, which is very helpful. Or not very, but helpful. Oh, right, I forgot to show my my belt. I am of course using a Mage Blood with Bismuth, Quicksilver, and Double Jade. Bismuth to help cap my resistances, Quicksilver for some more movement speed, and Jade for evasion rating for some more survivability, because we are pretty squishy. I have around 4000 HP if I was to count everything. We have around 1500 life, we have around 1200 energy shield, 400 ward, and 1000 mana. we are counting the mana as well because I'm using Mind Over Matter. So 4000 HP is really not that much if you think about it. Now let me quickly show you the stats as well. I am a level 97 Gemling. As you can see, we have quite a bit of attributes as well. We only have 315 Spirit, which is not a lot, but I managed to take everything that I wanted with this amount of Spirit. At a first glance, ooh, yes, 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 baby. Thank you, Sinziga, thank you. At a first glance, we are not very tanky. I only have 1800 life and 1000 energy shield. And I'm, like I said, taking Mind Over Matter, which basically gives me 1000 extra life as well, which is my mana. But then you have a look down here and you see that I am sitting at 72% armor, which is extremely good, right? And most of that armor comes from my Arctic armor, which then again, I showed this Arctic armor before, this skill before. This skill is amazing on a Gemling if you stack quality. And 40% evasion rating. If you see this changing from time to time, that's because of my charge regulation, which from time to time gives me increased defenses, as you see right now. My resistances are capped, all of them, other than my chaos resistance, which is 5 away from being capped. This is probably the best chaos resistance that I've had on all my characters, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. My movement speed is only at 72%, which, yeah, could be better, but is not bad either. And my rarity is at 43% in the hideout. So basically 58% in maps because of the rite of passage. And now that we got the gear out of the way, let's start talking about the skills. And let me start by saying that if you see me taking some random supports here and there, like for example, Armor Demolisher, keep in mind that I'm only taking it so I can balance those 3 numbers up here. 17, 17, those 2 are balanced. Therefore, I'm getting both the red and blue bonuses from Gen Studded. Ideally, you would want all 3 of them to be 17, but I didn't balance the green one as well. So therefore, I'm not getting the green bonus from Gen Studded. Victorious Barrier, I'm getting it from the Ascendancy. I'm getting the skill from the Fork. I'm not using it. I'm getting Impurity from the Scepter. So like I said earlier, we get to socket in those 4 supports for free because of it. Ember Fusillade, the only skill that I'm using. The only skill on my bar, the only skill that I self-cast myself. All my skills are Corrupted +1 and 23 quality, by the way. Cast on Dodge. Cast on Elemental Ailment, which triggers mostly for boss fights. And if you are wondering why, my understanding is that the Ember Fusillade inside Cast on Dodge cannot generate energy for Cast on Elemental Ailment. The only thing that can generate energy for it is this Ember Fusillade, which I cast myself. So yeah, since I am only casting this for very chunky enemies or bosses, basically that's the only time when Cast on Elemental Ailment triggers. Blasphemy, which helps me quite a bit with defenses because of Temporal Chains, which slows down enemies by quite a lot. Elemental Weakness, which makes Cast on Elemental Ailment even more powerful because, this lowers the elemental resistances of enemies. Arctic Armor, which is huge for my defenses. Because of this line right here, basically we are getting 46% increased armor per stage. From the additional quality, right? So that's huge, absolutely huge. Mana Remnants, I don't really need that one. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to say earlier, you could use Cast on Critical. I have decided not to use it. I would most likely use it if I was using a absent amulet with the 5% additional base critical hit chance for fire spells. But right now I am sitting, like I said, at 72% critical hit chance, and this cast on elemental element is way too cheap not to take it. If you look at the additional effects from quality that it gains, it has a 92% reservation efficiency. So basically, this costs around 50 spirit. Meanwhile, cast on critical costs 100 spirit. So that's why I decided to go with cast on elemental element. And since I decided to go with cast on elemental element, I didn't take the chaos damage approach that Jungroan took, right? Because basically I'm trying to freeze enemies, not to deal chaos with them. Where was I? Mana remnants, right? This is not very important, but decently important, because like I said, we are using mind over matter, and we also cast quite a bit of spells. So yeah, but my mana regen is absolutely crazy anyways. As you can see, my mana basically doesn't even move, even though I am casting non-stop right now. Casting non-stop. Boom, 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 boom. And my mana is sitting at the same number. Charge regulation, which is the shenanigan that I was mentioning earlier. Basically, this gives me a lot of critical hit chance, because if you read this, it gives me 28%, pardon me, more critical hit chance when I have a power charge. And power charge is basically what we get usually from Thaumaturgic Generator. And then from time to time we get Endurance or Frenzy, right? But the main one is power charge. So this basically gives me 24% more critical hit chance all the time, which is a lot better than 24% increased critical hit chance, by the way. So yes, that's why I chose to go with the Serpent's Egg, and that's why I chose to anoint Thaumaturgic Generator on the Serpent's Egg and all that, right? So this is very powerful for this build. And then of course we get the other bonuses as well, right? We get 21% more defenses whenever we have a endurance charge, and we get 27% increased skill speed whenever we have a frenzy charge. And then this bonus from this additional bonus from quality, which is 4% increased damage per charge, which is not a lot, which basically it nets me at around usually at around 15% increased damage, but something it's something. Overwhelming Presence is another very beneficial skill for this build. So basically, not only I am reducing the elemental resistances of enemies by using elemental weakness in my blasphemy, but we are also reducing the elemental element threshold by using Overwhelming Presence, which basically makes me freeze even more often. And this is kind of synergistic with the Alpha Soul, because Alpha Soul has this line right here that doubles my presence radius, and I need presence radius for Overwhelming Presence. So if you look at my presence, it's quite big. If you can see the green line here, basically that's how big my presence is. I have a big presence. Alright, and lastly, Ghost Dance. I have been debating a lot. This Ghost Dance doesn't really help me a lot, to be honest. But there are not many good other options. One of them was In Time of Need, and the other one was I forgot what was the name of that skill. And the other one was Lingering Illusions for even more power charges. But yeah, I decided to go with the Ghost Dance in the end. Jesus Christ, I believe this is the video in which I talk the most, and I'm not very used to talking this much. Generally speaking, I am a pretty quiet person. I know, that comes as a surprise, but yeah, and I can definitely feel it. My mouth is getting, constantly dry, and that's not a good feeling. So I'm gonna try to be as quick as possible here. This is the skills tree. As always, I'm making sure to take every single jewel slot on the tree just because jewels are extremely powerful this league, and it would be a shame not to take advantage of that. Those are the jewels. And other than jewels, I am basically taking nodes that affect either my critical hit chance, either my meta skills energy, like for example this one, like for example this one, like for example this one, right? Either trigger spells like you see here, either reservation efficiency. That's basically it. I'm taking Whispers of Doom so I can apply 2 curses. Mind over matter, like I said, for a little bit extra survivability. And yeah, that's about it. I have a voices with 2 sockets. Alright, that's it for the video. As always, if you want to copy this build, keep in mind that, this build is not better than a usual build. It is most likely not better than Jungroan's version of Cast on Dodge. I'm only doing this as a challenge for myself. I have fun usually putting together those builds. So yeah, if you want to do it for fun, be my guest. But otherwise, this is not meta. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Then yeah, see you next time. Bye.